Earlier this year, as you may have seen, my daughter, you might have seen her around, last seen eating cucumbers. She was born, and I was on paternity leave for a while, and I started making these little videos. Just is fun around the house. If you go to my, I'll put a listing to all of them at tanzutalk.com, and you can look through them. But I thought, instead of coming up with a new topic to talk about, I should use one of them to play it. And I had one that I thought was about like performance metrics to monitor, but the one I found was about managerial metrics. So I thought I would watch it, and if there's any commentary that I have now, I can comment on it. Maybe I could tell you a little bit about, making it and things like that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But let me go over to, I think I've set this up correctly. Look, see, there's me. Now, first of all, to give you some commentary, this is the backside. I should find some pictures of where it actually is, but there's a big, I forget what it's called, but it's basically this canal that they dug out in the 50s to connect together to the Rhine River system, so you can get barges going back and forth. Is that where that is? Yeah. It's part of that, at least. And there's a bridge here that my son really likes to go to look for things. We went over here one day with his friend. It was a little cold. I'm moving the cursor around like you can see it. But you can see that it's a little cold because I'm wearing a jacket. So this is one of the later videos that I made. And the premise is that it's just metrics you should look at when you're a manager changing. So let's see if this works. It's important not to lose sight of if you're transforming yourself, the manager and the executive, the people who are doing that organizational transformation. Here's 5 things you should check on to kind of be a dipstick, if you will, if you're changing yourself. 1, the format of your meeting should change. You're not only getting status updates of what's happening, but you're learning how. Now that's fun. Let's go back to that. So I spent an inordinate amount of time looking. Let's see. Let's go forward. Looking for this. Oh, see, and I did it too quick. Look at that. Okay, so this video, I was looking around the stock footage stuff that I have everywhere, and things like that. And this I actually found. If you go to the Internet Archives, archives.org, you can. They got all sorts of videos that are archived, and this is of all places from the California Department of like jails or correction or whatever. And this is some kind of like, I didn't really pay too close attention to the audio, but it's obviously from the 80s, and it's like some planning meeting for building a prison. So there were some great scenes of meetings, right? So I wanted to have a little jokey thing conveying like you're in a meeting, which I believe I did there. So now let's go back to the video. See what my 5 metrics are. Happening, but you're learning how the product has changed, new understandings of the customer, and getting a sense of how the product is helping the business. You should also be changing the people you talk with. You're not just talking with your direct reports, but you're talking with product managers and other people, maybe even audit people as you're trying to clear the way for automating more of compliance. I'm not sure if that's really a metric, but I guess it's an idea of, I kind of put metric in here because people love metrics, but I guess that is, if I don't say so, a fun point. That is, there should be more variety people that you're talking with. Now, as another thing, you'll see that I got all these, like I tried to compress these down into like a minute or two, because those are limits that you have in Twitter uploads and Instagram and some other places. They're all variable, which is annoying. LinkedIn, I think, lets you upload like 10 minutes or some luxurious amount of time. And of course, YouTube doesn't care. But that's a good one, right? Like, you should be talking with new people. So let's see what else. You should be thinking about how the things you measure change. Not only technical metrics, time to close bugs and time to deploy, but metrics about how your software is improving the way your business functions. Things like customer satisfaction, revenue, the time it takes to fill out a mortgage application, the time it takes to refill a prescription. You should also be... Now, you might remember from my presentations, right? Like let me see where I have last one. Because there's some of those metrics that I've collected. There we go. There's some of these metrics, right? These are the ones and I am enjoying using it. Boy, always annoying. So you can kind of see some sources down here if you zoom in. But yeah, it can be difficult to get like business metrics that are catchy, that aren't retail ones. But I think enrollment is a nice one for banks or whatever else. And this is, I think, from Tesco Bank, right? Like to make changes. I guess that's a pretty good representative one, right? To make changes to an existing banking system, not put up with, but to provide COVID things. And then, this is a good time to market thing from my way too often cited thing, Liberty Mutual, but it's pretty good. So, there's a little sampling of metrics there that you have. Plenty of citations if you want to go type those URLs in. But let's go back, see what else I suggested. Encountering customers a lot more, end users, having that same empathy for what people are doing with the software that you want your developer teams to be having. And finally, you should be delegating a lot more. Instead of using your meetings and your managerial position. I mean, once again, not really a metric. I guess maybe this is measurements that you should have to change things. Let me actually see what I actually called this. Oh, who cares? It doesn't really matter. I'll put a link to the YouTube thing of it. Where right there, if you want to see the original, which might be fun for you. You can see what I ended up calling it. But I mean, these are, like I guess I say in the beginning, like checks that you can make to measure yourself and your progress as a manager and executive. And to make all of the decisions, or to make the crucial decisions, many of the crucial decisions down to the actual teams who have weekly, daily familiarity with the business and the software. And they're the ones that should be. See, there's that video again. Look, see these. I guess my thinking here. Oh man, that's great stuff. But is these are sort of like. Not the managerial people. These are the people making the decisions, where to place the rooms and the heating units and all of that kind of stuff. Look at them collaborating there. They don't even have like a piece of glass that they're writing on, which they got chalkboards. That more and more making decisions that you probably were right. So you need that team making decisions. So if you look at those, kind of go through those every now and then and make sure that they've changed from your pre-transformation time to see if you yourself are actually changing. So for more, go to I probably edited these little things out, but it's like my quippy thing that if you're looking to transform, that means you're going to be changing, and if you're not changing, what are you doing, right? So, I mean, that's ultimately another metric or thing to measure is like, are you doing things differently? And if you're not doing things differently, not really up to anything. And I think there's another thing that I kind of implicit in here that based on a lot of surveys that I see. There's a lot of surveys about like problems we have transforming and priorities, and I don't know. I would bring one up to show you, but like they're all the same all the time, right? And what are your barriers for transforming? Also, there's like rights usage and stuff, but like skills are always a problem. Culture is always cited as a problem. That was in the most recent CNCF thing. In fact, maybe I can bring that one up. What you can see here, this is from the CNCF Music Factory's latest report about container usage or something like that. And I mean, the demographics are like around 52-53% tech companies. So take it with what you want versus normals that I'm always interested in. I don't know. I think it's still quite useful. And to the point that I'm trying to make, it's very representative of what always happens. Is this is a very typical, like, what barriers do we have, right? So to the point that I'm trying to wangle at, right? So we've got culture changes are a problem, right? Lack of training is a problem, and a bunch of like technical things and complexity, right? Now, I think the thing that like I would like to see more on charts is management changing the way that they're doing things, or executives doing a job of building an entirely new system instead of sort of like thinking that my people don't have the skills. Right. And so I think that's something that, especially as a manager and executive, if you're doing this transformation, you need to spend a lot of time thinking about is like, what am I doing differently as a manager? Because one, if I'm not doing something differently as a manager, then like we're not fully changing. And two, I think most of your staff are going to follow your lead for genuinely changing or not. And if they don't see you changing how you're doing things, if you think about it as sort of a machine, you're still getting the same inputs into you, right? So they're going to be the meetings you have, the activities that they're going to do, your staff is going to be doing, your teams are going to be doing, are still going to be all around giving you that same input, right? Giving you the same status meeting or the same sort of metrics or numbers they need to make more money in their bonus or get better compensation or whatever. And, so they're probably not going to change around very much. And on the other hand, right, like the outputs that you give, if you're not changing how you're doing things, are also going to be the same. So your kind of effect on the system, what you do is going to be the same. So, I mean, really, like if you're not changing the way you're managing and what you're doing, things are not going to change. No one's going to trust that they should do stuff, and they'll just keep doing the same thing with different words around it. Maybe different software that's supporting the same way of doing stuff, but you're not really going to be changing around very much, which I think, I don't know, there's some surveys where you see executives doing that. There was one, I think, that VMware sponsored from the old Vance and Bourne people a while ago that it was kind of interesting here, and I think I went over it in one of these videos, where there was a mismatch between what executives thought was a problem and what developers or staff thought was a problem. And I forget what the executive one was. It was probably culture change. But the developers, what they really thought was a problem was just wait time, like waiting for tickets to come back and waiting for resources, which that's an interesting, I should look up what this is, but who has the time? It's interesting to find conflicts like that, right? Because it means that the perception of those two layers is different. And so, and I would kind of go with what the lower levels, with what the workers are actually saying. And so the managerial layer hasn't like changed what they're doing enough, gone out and done, what is it, a Gamba walk? I forget what the Japanese lean term is. But they haven't gone and investigated what the bottlenecks are sufficiently if the staff thinks that things are still too slow, and that's not one of the top priorities that the managerial layer has, and you have such a difference in those. And then, yeah, I think, as I noted here, it would be nice to know a little bit more about what people think complexity and culture changes. This is funny, with development. I don't know if that means everyone else is doing a real bang-up job. But let's go back and see what else was going on at the time. Rotate.pizza, and you can get a couple of free books. Oh yeah, always trying to hustle, as you can see. Love those downloads. Coming up September. Oh, and then there was look at that fun little graphic there. Totally free. Trying to hustle for that. Spring One platform. Spring One was really great this year. I think we got lucky with the timing that people were really into online events. Go to springone.io and you can register for free. And it's pretty amazing, actually, what happened there. Well, so as you can see, there's all sorts of. I think that was pretty nice to kind of look through a video. I'll put a link actually in the end here. In the end there, I think. Let's see. I don't know where it's going to show up. But, when you see me walking around with a banana, you can watch that full video at the end here. So with that, we'll see everyone next time. Bye-bye. I'm excited because I'm going to eat some of my almonds. I guess they're like skinned. Does one say that? What I'm going to do is, boy, those are too good. I'm going to have to put those up.